Joy 99.7 FM.
You're welcome to NewsNite. Tonight, President Akufo-Addo speaks for the first time on the banking crisis with an assurance that what the BOG is doing is only to streamline activities in the banking sector and not to collapse it.
Where the dominant banks in our country are all foreign banks. It's very dangerous for our future if we allow that to happen. But if our own indigenous banks are performing poorly, poor governance structures, poor risk credit policies.
Meanwhile, Parliament's Finance Committee urges Bank of Ghana to fast-track payment of severance packages of workers of defunct UT and Capital banks.
We have the opportunity to engage with the Bank of Ghana so that some of these could be fast-tracked. It's been a year since these workers were laid off, and I think it's about time that those severance packages are given them.
We have details from the second day of the parliamentary probe as receiver KPMG hints of additional suits against directors of other collapsed banks apart from Unibank. 9-year-old class 2 pupil partially paralyzed after falling off from a table as her teacher allegedly attempted to defile her.
He put me on one of the tables and started inserting his fingers in my genitals. It was painful. I started struggling with him.
We'll hear more as parents of the child are compelled to keep her at home for lack of money to pay medical bills, and as NDC shops for a suitable candidate for the chairmanship position as it emerges that a National Council of Elders are endorsing the candidature of Alhaji Hudu Yaya. We have details for you on that. Meanwhile, NDC flag bearership aspirant Professor Joshua Labi pushes for the establishment of an independent election committee to manage conduct of presidential primaries following concerns of bias.
When there's party function, they should not be used to give some aspirants undue advantage over others by allowing campaign messages and songs of particular aspirants to be used as such functions.
And in business, some players push for increase in dollar supply as the local currency hit 4 cedis 99 pesos against the dollar.
I'll take you to Kenya, where the Nationals are not enthused the least about this Saturday's AFCON qualifier against Ghana. I will bring you updates from the Black Stars camp, the Black Stars who have actually just landed in Nairobi ahead of their 2019 qualifier against the Harambee Stars.
And later on flip side, if your pastor or preacher has artificially curled hair, you should be worried. Chances are he may be a fake pastor.
It looks like there's a format because most of them will make their hair gel care, grow certain beard or shave their hair.
We'll tell you which other pastor is joining General Overseer of Royal House Chapel International to provide clues on identifying fake pastors. You may want to join us with your thoughts via WhatsApp. It's 0244-340-437. I am MFA Pao.
And my name is Evans Mensa.
We are demanding our payment. Yes. I've worked for 4 months. They haven't paid me. They are free our account. They should pay us. Since from our work,
sounds of agitated staff of Top-Core Security Services at the World Trade Center branch of the Consolidated Bank. The private security guards are demanding the payment of their August salaries and a severance package. But what has that got to do with Consolidated Bank? Here's the link. Top-Core Security Services, a subsidiary of the now defunct Unibank, had its contract with Unibank terminated by the Consolidated Bank last month. That is after CBG took over Unibank. Now, CBG has also allegedly frozen the account of Top-Core. The workers tell Joy News management say is unable to pay their salaries as a result. So today, the protest by the security guards was part of attempts to pile pressure on CBG to unfreeze the accounts of Top-Core management holdings. One of the security guards, Musa, spoke with my colleague Ernest Meno.
It's about the pay, the Unibank and the stop termination of the contract.
So today we understand that you locked out the management of Consolidated Bank Ghana.
No, it's not locked, but we are just there. We are at the WTC branch, the World Trade Center.
Okay, so what did you do today?
Today we want, like, talking about termination of contract. There's nothing to they are giving it. So one day, the way they want to also drop us like this, there's nothing. We have nothing. So every day we have to come. But still, they don't give us anything.
But Top-Core management told you not to report to any of the branches of Unibank.
Yes, please. But we should still every day we should come to top up.
So why did you go to Consolidated Bank Ghana today?
We are there to just let them also see, feel for us. We approach them how it is for us. We want them to also see our feelings.
How many months have you not been paid?
Oh, it's only last month.
Only August?
Yes, please. If they are going to submit the contract like this with us, say go home, at least some of us work with the company about 7 years, 6 years and go that way. Some of us will start somewhere 2011 with the Unibank. So if they are coming to stop us now like this, at least they should have given us something small.
But who do you expect to pay that package?
Truly, it should come from top. Because we are employers from top to Unibank. So it's that one to come from.
And what is Topcore saying, your direct employers?
They are also, the way it happens, the consolidated people, they block their accounts. They block our Topcore people, their accounts.
Okay.
So they can't have access to their accounts, let alone to pay us.
Okay.
That's the problem.
So your understanding is that if Consolidated Bank Ghana unfreezes the account of Topcore, then they can pay you?
They cannot pay us.
So what you were doing was to pile pressure on
the consolidated people.
Okay. How many of you are?
Well, you heard that Musa is one of the security guards that work with Topcore Management Holding. So we get to speak to the management of Topcore Management Holding shortly. But first, my colleague, Enes Menu, has been speaking with officials of the Consolidated Bank Ghana. Enes, what have they been telling you?
So they have declined to speak to us on this issue because they say that some of these issues should be addressed by the receiver, this KPMG. And so they are directing us to speak to KPMG. We've been trying to get them. We don't have a response yet from KPMG. Once we do, we'll relay the information.
Okay, so KPMG and PricewaterhouseCoopers as well as Consolidated Bank have been in Parliament today. We'll get to Parliament. We'll cross over now because the Parliament's Finance Committee is urging the Bank of Ghana to fast-track the payment of severance packages of workers of defunct UT and Capital Bank. Now, at the hearing into the collapse of 7 banks today, the receiver, PricewaterhouseCoopers, explained how they computed the packages for various staff.
Well, there was a briefing after that to the media. Chairman of the Finance Committee, Dr. Marcus Ibeyebo, expressed concern the payments have been outstanding for far too long. He says they will engage the Bank of Ghana to fast-track the payments.
Matters like employees' severance, those who work with these banks, is involved here. We wanted to know when former workers of, say, UT Capital Bank would get their severance packages. As a matter of fact, they gave us the details, how they have arrived at the packages that they are going to pay them. And if you go into the law, it will take some more time before these severance packages would be paid. But we have the opportunity to engage with the Bank of Ghana so that some of these could be fast-tracked. It's been a year since these workers were laid off, and I think it's about time that those severance packages are given them.
Mr. Chairman, I think the government question that is posing is whether or not what you are doing, what the committee is doing, would not unnecessarily impinge on the court processes. I think you have made it clear to them that at this stage, what the committee is doing is information gathering. And to the extent that you are even doing it off camera, you have decided, the committee and indeed the chairman has come to a determination that it is not in any way going to undermine the court processes. As simple as that.
Well, let's go to the phone lines now. Let's speak to our parliamentary correspondent, Joseph Gakpo. Joseph, we hear that KPMG today disclosed that they will be filing additional suits against directors of other collapsed banks to recover lost money.
Exactly. We gather that came up when members of the committee probed and interrogated officials of KPMG. We gather that one of the issues that the committee members sought to get an understanding of was how they were recovering sums from directors of the various banks that went down, and concerns that some of the banks ended up moving money that should have been used purposely for the bank into other investments. And the KPMG officials drew attention to the fact that you had the court processes that the majority leader made reference to, and some of them had actually been initiated against Unibank in particular. But they hint that going forward, we can expect that a number of the bank directors, the board of directors of the other banks, would also face legal actions of their own, so that then they would be able to recover some of those sums and ensure that when it comes to the running of the Consolidated Bank, it's a lot more solidified, and that there are enough resources to clear all the outstanding debts and all the other issues having to do with severance packages and all.
Apart from KPMG, we also had reps from the Consolidated Bank appear before the committee. What are we learning from that session?
Well, they responded to questions having to do with their very, status and the legality of the establishment. You'd recall that when it was initially established, some members on the Finance Committee on the minority side drew attention that in terms of the funding that went into its establishment, Parliament hadn't approved the budget for that. And they also raised concerns that when it comes to the Banking Act, the required processes for the setting up of a bank wasn't followed. So they were asked to provide evidence in terms of their certificates of incorporation as an entity, their registration at the level of the Registrar General's Department. And there were questions to them as well about how they came into being, which they responded to. But more interestingly, there were questions about job security when it comes to the employees of the new bank that has been established and those that were moved from the 5 collapsed banks. They were unable to give specific details on how many employees would end up losing their jobs, but then they gave an indication that this would definitely happen because they hinted that currently they took over 191 branches from the 5 banks that collapsed. Base Bank, Unibank, Construction Bank, Sovereign Bank, and Royal Bank. All of that put together across the country, there were 191 branches. The management of Consolidated Bank Ghana has taken a decision that they are closing 93 of them and they would run only 91 of them, giving the indication that some of the workers will definitely have to go home, although the officials were unable to give specific details on how many workers they would eventually sack.
What happens tomorrow?
Tomorrow, we are expecting officials from the National Insurance Commission to appear and also the Securities and Exchange Commission to appear. Well, we got responses from the chairman of the committee as to how come these two institutions have become crucial players as far as the parliamentary probe is concerned. And he explained that they figured out that a lot of the banks that went down ended up moving money into the establishment of insurance firms. And the chairman cited Base Capital as an example, that they ended up establishing Base Pensions, for example, and went on to say that some of them also moved money into the establishment of investment firms. So that's where the focus is. They'll be asking the National Insurance Commission and also the Securities and Exchange Commission about how the entities that the money was moved into establishing are faring and the link between those and the collapsed bank. So that will be the concluding part of the 3-day inquiry, after which the committee says we would hear from them on what the way forward will be.
Thank you very much, Joseph.
Now, you know that, Evans, yesterday, a member of the Finance Committee, Isaac Adongo, walked out of the meeting raising a number of concerns, amongst others saying that this whole process is a cover-up. Today, he did not show up, we're told, but the chairman of the committee has been speaking to this matter about the issue about it being a cover-up. He says that they are allowing the issue to rest following engagement with the leadership.
We've engaged with the minority leader, the majority leadership, and I think we should let sleeping dogs lie. To the extent that the committee has converged again today to continue with our work, I think there are no issues outstanding. A member cannot be compelled to attend a meeting of a committee, but all those you saw yesterday and even here now seated at the table are ready and are willing to work. And so far, deliberations have been in a decorous manner, and everybody is happy with the work that we are doing.
So you heard the chairman of the Finance Committee. Well, President Akufo-Addo has been speaking for the very first time on the banking crisis, and he says his government is not seeking to collapse any bank, but rather strengthen the sector and thereby create stronger banks that will shore up the Ghanaian economy. He's been speaking in Kigali.
Over, for instance, the situation in our banking sector. So you've heard about it. The decision that the central bank has taken, which has affected 7 important indigenous banks who were being supported by the taxpayer through the Bank of Ghana. Altogether, the indebtedness of these 7 banks amounted to some 8 billion Ghanaian cedis that the Bank of Ghana used to support these banks. That is not a short, medium, or long-term solution that we can support. That the Bank of Ghana will be taking taxpayers' money to support inefficient, poorly managed banks. So the Bank of Ghana stepped in, and the regulatory measures that it has taken are those that have resulted in the takeover, the solution of these 7 banks. And in the process, with the support of the Minister of the Bank of Ghana, the Minister of Finance has decided to take over the assets of 5 of these 7 banks as a prelude to establishing a new state-owned bank, the Consolidated Bank of Ghana, which is going to be a much stronger indigenous bank alongside GCB, and therefore provide the leadership in the indigenous banking sector that is required. We cannot have, and that is the clear intention of government, to have a situation where the dominant banks in our country are all foreign banks. It's very dangerous for our future if we allow that to happen. But if our own indigenous banks are performing poorly, poor governance structures, poor risk credit policies, at the end of the day, if we don't take care, that is what will happen. Because one by one, they will go under. The market is a really tough and rigorous place. And banks, like all other economic institutions, the Central Bank Governor of Rwanda is sitting right here. I'm saying something which doesn't make sense. I'm sure he'll correct me. The law of the market will have it that if you are not performing well, efficiently, you will go under.
And that is President Akufo-Addo speaking on the banking crisis for the very first time in Kigali. Still listening to NewsNite here on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, a 9-year-old girl in the central region town of Kaswa is now struggling to walk after allegedly being sexually assaulted by her teacher. Now, the teacher is said to have inserted his fingers into the vagina of the girl when she showed up for extra classes.
So the teacher actually offered to give her, much more classes or help her catch up with what she had lost because she came in late, only for that to happen. So during the sexual abuse, however, the victim is said to have fallen off from the table as she tried to flee and is now unable to walk. Joy News' Maxwell Agbagba has been following the story and now reports.
I am at the Kaswa residence of the Class 2 pupil. Family members are seated discussing their next line of action. Very close to them is the victim seated in a plastic chair covered with a cloth. There is a pillow supporting her back with her 2 legs resting on a kitchen stool. As she stretches in the chair, tears begin to flow. She is in pain. The 9-year-old girl says on the day she reported late to vacation classes, her class teacher offered to teach her what she had missed, but ended up inserting his fingers in her genitals.
There were some children playing in the classroom where he took me. He sacked all of them. I told one of my friends there to wait, but the teacher disagreed. When I started writing, he came closer and rubbed his hands in my head and said my father has asked him to provide all my needs. He put me on one of the tables and started inserting his fingers in my genitals. It was painful. I started struggling with him. In an attempt to flee, my pelvis hit one of the tables. I fell down and later ran home with my younger sister. I was scared to tell my mom.
The victim's grandfather says the suspect confessed to the crime and later gave them 50 Ghana cedis to cater for the girl, but denied the allegation when they reported the matter to the police.
He told me that, I know the accused very well, and then the wife. He told me that he begged me I should forgive him. I should forgive him. He doesn't know what exactly happened to him before he did that to the kid. So what?
We moved to the home of the suspect to hear his side of the story, but were informed he was not around. I called the suspect's wife, who was with him at the time. After introducing myself, we requested to meet them. The suspect's wife told us she cannot give us directions to their location. When I suggested we hear the suspect's side of the story via the phone, she dropped the call and did not answer the subsequent ones. Our checks at the Kaswa office of the Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit revealed they have taken up the matter. However, the investigator working on the case said she cannot provide us with details. She referred us to her superior, who we were told was at a training program in Accra. Our calls and text messages to her remain unanswered. Some extracts of medical documents seen by Joy News stated, quote, patient presented with inability to walk after her teacher allegedly inserted his finger in vagina. Medical examination showed a partially perforated hymen with no tears or lacerations, unquote. According to the statement, the patient is still unable to walk despite pain medication, and she has been treated for pelvic fracture, urinary tract infections. Family members of the girl are now racing against time to raise money for the 9-year-old girl to undergo treatment at the Winneba Hospital, where she has been referred.
That's Maxwell Agbagba's report there. Maxwell Agbagba joins us in studio for more on this. Maxwell, clarify for us, how long ago did this incident occur?
Okay, so the incident happened about a month ago, but the girl did not narrate the incident to her mother until 2 weeks ago. And she only narrated it, confided in actually a close friend of her mom, when her mother realized that she was growing leaner by the day. So they took her to the Kaswa Polyclinic. That was their first port of call. So at the Kaswa Polyclinic, when nurses ran tests, we are told that was the point that they broke the news to the mother that her daughter has been sexually abused. And they were told to bring the girl home. So they brought the girl home, but her mother interrogated her many times, and she wouldn't, talk about the incident. So later, her mother actually spoke to another relative of DS to speak to the girl. It was then that she confided in the relative that, okay, in a family member, that this is what happened to me, but I'm scared to tell my mom because if I tell her, she's going to beat me.
And the teacher attempted to let them settle this matter at home?
Exactly. That is what we are learning from family members. We are told that on countless occasions, the teacher came to the home of the victim in an attempt to, get them to resolve the issue at home. We are told that on one of the occasions when he was granted bail by the police, he came over to the house and presented them an amount of 50 Ghana cedis to be used to cater for the girl, and also pleaded that they settle the matter at home. The suspect's wife also, we are told, many times visited the victim at home in an attempt to get them to resolve the matter at home. But the suspect's mother and family members disagreed.
So what is actually the status of this case? We know the Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit is handling it.
Well, the DOVSU, they are quite tight-lipped on this matter, but we are learning that the case was in court yesterday and it has been adjourned to September 12th. So next week, they will be back in court as they try to unravel the mystery behind this incident.
But have you tried reaching the headmaster of the school, for instance? What have they been telling you, authorities of that school?
Yes, we tried reaching in fact, we visited the school where we saw some children playing on the compound. The gates
to the classrooms where the incident happened. Actually, had been locked at the time. We were told that school was on vacation, so there was no one in the school at the point at that time. We called the headmaster, and we introduced ourselves. I introduced myself to him. And then just when I introduced myself, the line dropped. So we called again to get him to, because in the narration, we're told that he also visited the house once and presented an amount of 50 Ghana cedis to the parents. And that was the last time he, as the headmaster, visited the home of the victim. But we couldn't reach him. Exactly, 50 Ghana cedis.
But in your report, quickly, Maxwell, I heard the grandfather say that he knows the teacher. Does it look like the teacher is a family friend? Do they know the teacher very well beyond teaching the child?
From my interactions with the family members, they know the teacher very well, because the school is just about 500 meters away from where they live, and it's a community where everyone. You virtually know everyone, within
about
the
how
vicinity.
old is this teacher?
This teacher, we are told, is in his late 30s or early 40s. He's married with 4 children.
Okay, Maxwell Agbagba, if you're watching Facebook Live, you notice that Evans Mensah has to walk out because he's unable to stay through this. But speaking to Aisha Ibrahim on the Pulse on Joy News Channel or Multi TV, Chairman of the Gender Committee in Parliament, Dr. Kojo Apiakubi, stated that the Gender Ministry does not have the needed resources to enable them execute their mandate effectively.
The use of gender, children in social welfare, has a very small budget, and it will also tell you we are handicapped. We do not have sufficient resources to undertake most of these things or to be of assistance to most of these kids alleged victims. You know that even children's homes, shelters and other things, the ministry does not have a lot of these things and rely on NGOs and other institutions to provide that assistance. We are in talks with the ministry to probably have a budget line which will keep up for such eventuality. But it will also complain, our results are woefully inadequate to do all these things. So there is very often the alleged victims are left to their own fate.
So you heard the Parliament's committee on the chairman of the Gender Committee in Parliament, Dr. Kojo Apiakubi, there speaking to us a while ago. Now let's get on the phone line and speak to the Acting Executive Director of the Human Rights Advocacy Centre, Cynthia Nimo Apremdu. Thank you very much for your time here on NewsNite, Cynthia. So 9-year-old girl still at home, unable to walk. Teacher denies anything of that sort happened. Earlier gave about 50 cedis to cater for the health of the child. But the health of that child is much more important. What options are available to the parents of this 9-year-old?
From the conversation that I have heard, they still have recourse, or they should be able to have access to justice. I do not think that the mere fact that 50 cedis has been paid, or even if it was more than 50 cedis, it does not exonerate someone who has been accused of an offense as serious as defilement. The laws allow for compensation to be paid in criminal matters. If you look at the Criminal Procedure Act, Section 148, it says that a person who is convicted of a felony or a misdemeanor may be ordered by the court to make compensation. And then the compensation may be in addition to or in substitution for any other punishment. Now, the substitution bit may be related to situations where you're dealing with minor offenses, because you know that where you're dealing with a minor offense, which is not of an aggravated manner, you can have settlement out of court. So I believe that this provision with respect to substitution is applicable to that situation. But apart from that, in any case involving a serious crime, a felony, whether or not you pay money, you still should have access to justice in criminal matters. So we should know. I think this is something that is quite lost to many of us. In the Criminal Procedure Act, you have access to compensation in criminal matters. So I'm not sure what is happening. I'm not sure why this family is not able to access justice, if what I'm hearing is right.
Yeah, even before we come to any criminal prosecution, in the immediate, this poor 9-year-old girl is in need of urgent medical attention, and the parents, from what we hear, can't afford that now, and so the child is sitting at home. What can be done in the immediate for this child?
The state should take care of the child. The Ministry of Gender should take care of the child. We constantly hear issues of there being no resources, as we just heard from the chairman of the Gender Committee. There should be resources. We find resources for other things in this country. Why should such a matter as serious as a violation of the rights of the child be deprived of the necessary redress on the basis that there is no resource? We have money. We have money and we can take care of that child. So the state should take care of that child. It's the state's responsibility.
Cynthia, we'll leave it here. Cynthia Nimo Apremdu is the Acting Executive Director of the Human Rights Advocacy Center. It remains such a huge question for me that what will make somebody, a man in your late 30s, you have a wife and children. It remains an allegation though, but what will make you want to do such a thing to a 9-year-old?
He's a pedophile. If he's found to be guilty once the process is exhausted. You want to join us with your thoughts on that story and the others you've heard here on NewsNite? Send us a WhatsApp 0244 340 437. My name is Evan Spencer.
I am MFA Paul.
Let's do some business now. But after business, if your pastor or preacher has artificially curled hair, you should be worried. Chances are he may be a fake prophet.
In NewsNite, there is a format because most of them will make their hair gel care, grow certain beard, or shave their hair.
Okay, so all the indicators will be revealed on Flipside after George Uafe is done with the business headlines. George.
Hi, events. And the city is falling like nobody's business, and it's getting close to the 5-city mark today. In the afternoon, it was around 4 Ghana cities, 99 pesos. But for some players, they are urging for...
I should have held on to my dollar.
Calm, because some believe that it's being fueled by speculation. People are panicking. They are going out there to buy dollars. So hold it there, things will be over soon. And also remittances to pass through Bank of Ghana for scrutiny as part of proposed measures to reduce fraud and money laundering. The business news on NewsNite is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials. Heaven Plus, it's outside mosquito spray, pleasant on humans, tough nightmare on insects. United Pension Trustees, my own pension Papa, and Mark Auto Parts, distributors of Chevy cars.
In this part of the world, we rise early, way before the sunrise. We plan, we pray, we prep, just so we are a step ahead. We keep the conversations going to stay connected to family, friends, and business. They say, Agrobeswa Ifrianopa. Start your day bright with MTN Kokroko. For only 1 Ghana cedi, you can enjoy 400 megabytes of data and 30 minutes of free MTN to MTN calls every day from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. everywhere you go. Dial *138# to buy MTN Kokroko bundle now.
The Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited's Back to School promotion is here with us again. From the 1st of August to the 30th of September, Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited is giving a generous 10% discount on all school items like textbooks, pens, pencils, erasers, exercise books, and much more across all our branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Takoradi, and Cape Coast. Parents, teachers, and students, please hurry while stocks last. For more information, call us on 0302 764 101 or 0302-764-209 or email info@kingdomgh.com. You can also visit our website www.kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books, where quality and affordability are both assured. Terms and conditions apply.
That is a sweet sound of excellence. That is the sound from Mack. Yes, Mack Ghana is the #1 distributor of the world's best quality Isuzu and Chevrolet vehicles in Ghana. Isuzu trucks from 1.5 tons to heavy-duty vehicles. Isuzu buses from 15 to 33 seaters, double and single cabin pickup, available in automatic and manual transmissions. We also stock a wide range of Chevy cars, from SUVs, sedans, and small cars, fully loaded with exquisite specifications. All our range of vehicles stand out due to its high fuel efficiency, safety, luxury, spacious interior, world-class delivery, and after-sales servicing. What's more, we offer flexible payment terms to meet your pocket. Mack Ghana is a sole distributor for Isuzu trucks and pickups, as well as all range of Chevrolet cars in Ghana. Call us on 0302-813-919 in Accra or 0242-039-550 in Kumasi. Visit our website at mackghana.com. Mack Ghana, with you for the long run.
Your family station, Joy 99.7, brings to you the Back to School Fair. It's your one-stop shop for all school supplies. You no longer have to worry about the stress of shopping for your awards. The Joy FM Back to School Fair brings together all vendors under one roof. And if you're looking to enroll or change schools for your child, there'll be reps from various schools to provide the relevant information to help you make that important decision. The date is Friday 7th to Sunday 9th of September 2018 at the Providence Event Center adjacent Otachill Trade Fair. Come along with the kids to have fun and meet your favorite presenters while you shop. Admission is free. The Joy FM Back to School Fair is brought to you by Nataraj by JK Industries and Investments Limited. Nataraj, easy to erase and sharpen. And MTN Mobile Money, just Momo it everywhere you go. Republic Bank, we are the one for you. Educare plan from Enterprise Life. Enterprise, your advantage. Pepsi, own the moment. Still one Ghana city pay. Big, always gives you more. I know I can.
Joy 99.7 FM.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. And more players in the financial space are urging businesses to be calm and not to panic as the city inches closer to the dreaded 5-city mark. Now, I closed on the interbank market earlier today, trading around 4 Ghana cedis 99 pesos. So what's the best way out in containing the situation? Should there be increase in dollar supply, or for some people, it's about the correction taking place? There is more in this report.
The call has been influenced by fears that most of these demands are not meant for real business transactions, but rather for people who just want to protect the city, which is held against inflation. One of such persons making this call is the Chief Executive of Data Bank Financial Services, Kojo Adai-Mensah.
Signs are that though the city will definitely depreciate, I'm not sure the city is going to, in the next medium term, depreciate faster than what you can get in return in CD terms. So let's take the 2-year bond as an example, which was issued at 18%. If you sit it out, that's 18% per annum. If you sit it out, you're going to get 18% return. But the city would have depreciated maximum 4%. So I don't think it's a good idea for you to keep your money in dollars.
Managing Director of Republic Bank, Anthony Jordan, is of the view that those pressures that resulted in the city's challenges are easing. Therefore, there might not be the need to demand more dollars.
So you have spikes in demand, but by and large, I would like to think that between the central bank and the Ministry of Finance and that convergence and complementary relationship you see between and harmonization of the fiscal and monetary policy we've been witnessing, I think we will be okay going forward.
What about injecting significant amounts of dollars or some fresh regulations to deal with this situation? Well, senior economist Radel Marcus does not support this strategy.
Fundamentally, I'm not a supporter of regulations to support a currency because you end up finding that your currency could be artificially too strong, and I would not be going the regulatory route because it's always sometimes very difficult to find. I think there's other ways to address some of these issues without going the regulatory route.
Whichever way you look at this, it is clear that there is a challenge with supply, so that increasing dollar supply marginally could save the situation. Or could the depreciation be deliberate for the necessary correction to take place?
And that was a Business Desk report. Now, remittances could soon pass through the Bank of Ghana before it's transferred to the recipient's account. Now, this is one of the measures the central bank is considering to help reduce fraud and money laundering. The proposed measures will be captured under the regulator's guidelines on remittances. Now, speaking with journalists after a sensitization workshop on financial crime, Head of the Financial Stability Department at the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Frank Joseph, disclosed this that this is part of a roadmap towards addressing the issues in the sector.
For now, we want to have a seamless system, but we want to, at the same time, curb fraud. So we're still discussing, but we, one step at a time, what we have to do to reduce the incidence of fraud is what we do. As we move on, then we'll be tying the knots and identifying, exposing some of these things. For now, this is what we want to do, so that as a first step,
be implemented?
We'll unfold as we go on. You get to know of them this week. And of course, there will be intelligent information. If you look at the degree of information or report, you can see that the non-banks, even though only 17 out of all the rural banks, 17 out of 39 reported, they reported so much. So it's number one, information to those institutions, the reasons why, and the fact that giving information is very necessary to get the bad guys out of the system. It's very necessary. So basically that's that. So we're moving on sensitization, and we're coming out with guidelines on this so that we get out the bad guys out of the system.
Dr. Joseph Francis, Head of Financial Stability Department at the Bank of Ghana. Still on the banking sector now, some foreign banks are trying to downplay reports that they are benefiting from the panic withdrawals that has hit the local banks. The development has resulted in huge withdrawals from these local banks over fears that they could be going down soon. Addressing the issue at the launch of the Access Bank Remitter Payroll Processing Solution, Managing Director of the bank, Chris Fionya Ejeaku, said they have not been a beneficiary of this development.
So we are not affected by that. On the reverse, we should be benefiting from Flight for Safety, but we, as a responsible organization, are not happy when any bank collapses, because when a bank collapses, the ripple effect is on even those that don't collapse. So what I would say is that for our customers, they are happy because they know that we are strong and we are solid, and they are probably counting themselves lucky to be in the right bank at the right place.
Managing Director of Access Bank Ghana, Chris Fionyi Ejeaku. Now onto the energy sector. Now Ghana is to receive a second allocation of the compact funds under the Millennium Challenge Corporation. The $190 million will be transferred to government accounts, having met the required conditions to access the fund. Now, upon entering into the force for the Ghana Power Compact on September 6, 2016, the corporation granted access to the first allocation of the compact funds amounting to $308 million. The Challenge Compact investment in the Ghana Power Compact totals is about $498 million. And to the stock market, and MTN is still struggling to see some appreciation in its share price after listing on the Ghana Stock Exchange. It still remains flat today, trading at 75 pesos. Now, Cowbank was up by 16 pesos to close at 1 Ghana cedis, 20 pesos. And that's all for business on NewsNite.
Thank you very much, George. And you can share your thoughts on the stories you've had so far with us here on NewsNite. And a few of the thoughts coming through on our WhatsApp console. Kwabena says, Honorable Isaac Odongo is behaving like an ostrich as an MP, as a PM. You have to partake in what transpired in the House of Parliament. Kofi Seru says, if the accusations leveled against this teacher is true, then it is quite unfortunate because teachers are supposed to be role models in society. This issue should not be solved by a busiamping somewhere. The law must take its full course.
And this one also says we should set our priorities right as a nation. How can a whole gender ministry be financially incapacitated towards such abuse on our young ones? We should sit up and stop wasting money on unnecessary things. Kofi from Kumasi sends that one in. Musa Abatwa in Kumasi says, Evans, I find President Akufo-Addo's speech on the collapsed banks unfortunate because they were aware of the problems facing these banks in the position when Dr. Baumia, who's now the head of economic management team, hinted. What measures have they put in place to prevent it? Some of your messages that you've sent in so far via WhatsApp on 0244340437. Now, away from that, it is emerging that the National Council of Elders of the NDC are settling on the candidature of the party's longest-serving General Secretary, Alhaji Hudu Yaya, as a suitable chairperson or chairman for the party. So far, about 5 persons have filed nomination to lead the party, but the National Council of Elders believes all those who have come out to contest the position currently occupied by Kofi Potofe do not fit the bill, aside Hudu Yaya. My colleague Kwesi Parker-Wilson has been digging and joins us in studio with more on this. What did you find?
Well, Emifa, I've been told by my source that indeed Mr. Hudu Yaya went to see the Council of Elders. Now, he wanted to know whether or not he should go ahead and campaign, because what happened last 4 years was that they prevailed on him to step down on election day. I mean, that was in Kumasi. So he wanted to know whether he should proceed. And they told him that, listen, we are giving you our full support. You're not going to interfere in the process. So we want to assure you that we are supporting you as far as the chairmanship race is concerned.
But were you able to get reaction from the other candidates? Because we know that about 5 persons or so have come up to contest that slot. What have they been saying?
In fact, I spoke to some of them, and well, they started not to believe what they were hearing from me. That
they're in
shock? Yeah, they're in shock. I mean, it's not possible that the Council of Elders would endorse the candidature of Hudu Yaya. In fact, they cannot do that. As some of them said, they cannot do that because it is not binding even on the delegate to ensure that they even vote for the Hudu Yaya, who has been endorsed by the candidature, by the National Council of Elders. But for them, they wouldn't want to comment, but then they would do their own investigation and come out in due time.
Well, meanwhile, the NDC flag bearer aspirant, Professor Joseph Alabi, is calling for the establishment of an independent electoral committee to supervise the party's upcoming flag bearer elections. Now, he fears the absence of such a committee will undermine the credibility of the selection process. A campaign coordinator for Professor Alabi, Victor Adawodu, prevailed on the leadership to desist from allowing campaign message songs of certain aspirants at party functions.
We expect that the elected leadership will not allow the process to be hijacked by some persons for their own parochial interest. The actions and inactions of the elected leaders would either foster unity and social cohesion or otherwise. Actions such as attacks and insulting of aspirants and elders of the party are clear examples of this unhealthy conduct. When there's party functions and programs, they should not be used to give some aspirants undue advantage over others by allowing campaign messages and songs of particular aspirants to be used at such functions. It should be strictly party messages. Team Alabi, we will reckon that it is God who anoints leaders and establishes kingdoms. And except the Lord builds a house, they labor in vain that build it.
Well, and they also want that committee to have representation from across the divide in terms of the various aspirants who are seeking to lead the party into the 2020 elections. Let's speak to national organizer of the party, Mr. Adams. Kofi Adams joins us on the telephone line. Mr. Adams, I'm grateful that you joined us. What do you make of this demand from Joshua Alabi's camp?
Good evening, Evans, and also to your listeners. I agree with them. Is it a demand or they are making a proposal?
A proposal.
Yeah. So if it's a proposal, it will be looked into, except that at this stage I can tell you that it will not really work. Election committee is a committee that is made up of persons usually from various sectors of the party. We have the parliamentary wing, we have the election directorate that works. The Constitution makes it very clear that this is the unit that is responsible for internal elections. I believe that if the team has advertise their minds to the constitution of the party, they will not be making this proposal, but maybe possibly rather should be a proposal for amendment of the constitution. Then, of course, we have Council of Elders that will bring a representation on board. Then other senior persons are selected. You cannot have an election committee that will have representative of aspirants on it. It doesn't work. It's never been done.
But you see their concern that somebody like you have already declared your support for John Mahama, and so they don't believe that anybody else should be a part of that committee.
I'm not on the election committee. I'm not on the election committee to manage the flag bearership. We are even yet to form the election committee for the flag bearership contest. That's what I'm saying. People are jumping the gun. They must read the party's constitution and understand. If we have just come in trying to contest for elections or following an aspirant, take your time and study the constitution of the parties. Wait for Congress to be over. We will elect the leadership. That leadership will come and develop a regulation based on Article 53 2B. They will develop a regulation that will govern the elections of a flag bearer. In that regulation, they will be stating who and from which sectors we should have persons onto the elections committee. That election committee will work and report to leadership. As part of their work, they will be engaging aspirants from time to time. You cannot have an election committee that would representation of aspirants on it. It's like saying that the Electoral Commission of Ghana, when they are going to conduct elections, should have presidential candidate representative on the Electoral Commission. Of course, the Electoral Commission, as part of their work, will be engaging with aspirants or their parties from time to time when need arises. But you cannot have them sit in the committee as members of the committee. That will not work. That's a proposal that I believe should not even be coming. In any case, for example, we are talking about 12 people who have already made their intentions to contest. Assuming without thinking that all of these will qualify, are you saying that we'll have 12 representatives, then plus all these institutional representation on? Then how many people are you going to put together as election committee? It will be so huge and unwieldy.
Well, Mr. Adams, away from that proposal also, we are picking information that the National Council of Elders are endorsing the candidature of Alhaji Hudu Yaya as the national chair. True?
I'm not a member of the Council of Elders.
But you are the national organizer of the party.
I'm unable to speak about the Council of Elders decision if they ever made any such decision. So if they do, I'm sure they will communicate to the party membership. But as at this moment, we have not received any communication from the Council of Elders to any such proposal or recommendations from them.
We're grateful for your time. Kofi Adams there is a national organizer of the NDC.
Let's do sports now. And Baba is here with lots of cash and the latest from the world of sports, Babs.
Okay, so that's my transfer fee.
Oh, that's it. You can see it on Facebook, Facebook Live. You see the lot of money.
Evan Spencer, can I just talk about Black Stars? So Ghana's Black Stars have landed in Nairobi ahead of their 2019 AFCON qualifier against Kenya this Saturday. The Black Stars ended their 3-day training tour of Ethiopia this morning after their training session, and they will hold a final one tomorrow at the venue for the match, the Moi International Stadium in Kasarani. Kenyan sports journalist Vincent Opio met the Black Stars on arrival at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport.
They came out of the tunnel at around at exactly 8 p.m. Kenyan. The match will be played at the Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani, which has a capacity of 60,000 people Saturday. But they will have a feel of the match venue tomorrow at 4 p.m. East African time, which is the kickoff time of the game on Saturday.
Head coach of the Kenyan side, Sebastian Minye, has a different focus from Saturday's game. He concedes that Ghana is bigger than his side.
Losing to Ghana will not really be a shock. It will be a result that is expected because Ghana, honestly, is a big team than Kenya. Surprisingly, even the coach said he's not, in as much as the Ghana match is important, he's not really focused on this match. He's focused on the two matches against Ethiopia in next month. That is in October and another one in November. because we visit Ethiopia and then we host them. So he's focused on winning against Ethiopia, not really against Ghana. If he gets a draw against Ghana and maybe gets 6 points against Ethiopia, whom we have not played, we played them 2 games. But for Ghana, he concedes that it's a big team, and he's a new coach, by the way. This will be his first competitive match for Kenya, and so he hasn't had enough time with the players. He doesn't even know some of the players because they play outside Kenya, so we don't expect a lot in terms of performance from our team.
So Evans and MFA, as if the shock of the Kenyan coach Sebastian Minye not focusing on the Ghana game but rather looking ahead to the game with Ethiopia is not enough. The buzz in Kenya ahead of Saturday's game is also on the low, and according to Vincent Opio, he doesn't expect a full house at the 60,000 Moi International Stadium on Saturday.
Ghana is a very big team in Africa, 4-time winners of the Africa Cup of Nations, so we should have had, build up in terms of marketing, in terms of sensitizing the public that we will be hosting Ghana on Saturday in Nairobi so many times, but very limited advertisements were made on the match. I do not expect a lot of fans to turn up surely on Saturday because it's not being talked about. Even at the airport, some guys were asking us, why is the media here? And we had to tell them we are waiting for Ghana national team. Why are they coming, Such like things should not be asked at such a big airport, especially for Kenya expecting to host a big team like Ghana.
Right, so whether they like it or not, as for us, it's a big match for us and we'll beat them on Saturday. Remember, there'll be commentary on Joy 99.7 FM. Ketsi, First National Bank. How can we help you?
Evans, do you know anyone who is supposed to go to SHS? Who's going to be part of the double track system?
No.
Okay, Baba does. But you know that 67,000 of them have not been placed yet. A number of them have been placed, but some of them are yet to be placed. Most of them throng the premises of the Accra Center, that's at the Independence Square today, to ensure that they're able to place their children. But there's some confusion there. Hannah Odami was there and filed this report.
The complaints, the frustrations, the assurances, as well as some attempts at solutions by officers of the Ghana Education Service here at the Independence Square, which has been termed as a solution center by the computerized placement system. Let's hear some of the complaints from the parent.
For my younger brother, he had the school, the 5 placements, but one he did not select is what they have given him, that's Orally. And even the fact now is that the course he had wanted to offer, electrical engineering, and Orally they don't even offer that course. And what I'm asking them is that if even there can be a change, what they are saying is that it's either he takes to Orally or he goes to Accra Technical, but the distance alone is another problem.
Go there, go here, and you are not getting any response. So finally, I went to another place and they asked me to come here. And I came here, they said I should fill a complaint form. So I filled the form and they told me when they go, they'll tell their technical people. So I'm still waiting for them for the placement. My child chose Presec Legon.
So how is your child feeling as at now, knowing that?
He's feeling bad because he got an aggregate 8 and up to now his placement didn't come. He's not happy.
PRO of the Ghana Education Service, Cassandra Chum, attempted some explanations to this particular parent who would simply not agree.
Obanonya grade 10. Onya 15. Onya grade 15. And what you see at this Saturday. Yeah. Sana obeso. Yo.
Na make us una ma share that set some trap be there to us nipa ne fa dey. Nti so piompo. E so fa dey. Nti mo set trap into that house obeto.
Trap is yes obi an choose school 5.
Solutions are being preferred and it is their hope that parents will have all the answers before school reopens on the 11th of September.
Well, that's a report filed by my colleague Hannah Odami. So yesterday we heard from the General Overseer of the Royal House Chapel International, Sam Kanchankra, on how to identify a fake prophet, a fake pastor. This is what he told us.
I've been listening to radio and TV, so I can give you a few descriptions of some of the things that they say and do. Number one, the rich amongst them, these false prophets, they normally like to bleach their faces. They bleach. So why are they bleaching? It shows the fakeness in them. They are revealing a color with which God did not give birth to them. They were born black, but now they are white. Deception.